Right, welcome back. This is Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV on channel 33 and FM 101.7. Don't forget to send your comments and questions to our AYV Sierra Leone Facebook page.
We'll definitely read those questions or comments out in the show this morning. In the show, Sierra Leoneans are deeply concerned about the increase in hate speech and tribal slant creeping into the conversation on the election side of us in 2023. Many people believe that this style of political discourse is ugly for the country's democracy, and it has potential to undermine the peace and stability of the country. So this morning, to discuss this and other issues, especially with the recent video of Dr. Samura Kamara, who allegedly made some tribal statements, we have with us in the studios Imran from the Strategic Communications Unit at the Ministry of Information and Communications to talk on government's perspective on how to handle situations like this. We also have Alfred Minkailu, a member of the All People's Congress, the APC. We also have in our studio too Philip Bona, Director of Conflict Prevention at the Peace Commission. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to the program this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Grateful to be here.
I might not say it's a shame we're talking about peace and don't have women. It's all men. But it is what it is.
Exactly.
But I'll start with you, Minkailu. You know, that video of Dr. Samura Kamara has gone viral. It has sparked a lot of discussion on social media and even offline. As a political party, do you subscribe to the statements made by Dr. Samura Kamara, who is one of the aspiring flag bearers of the APC party?
Yeah, firstly, what needs to be noted is that the APC is a party of national character. You know, we as a party condemn all forms of tribal sentiment or statements that are regarded to have some tribal tendency. We are a party that accommodates every tribe, every shade of opinion. We are a tolerable party that accommodates every region, whatever background the person is coming from. So we condemn that in its entirety. Having said that, I also want to make it abundantly clear that I read the press release authored by the Slpp Secretary General, which is not dated, but in paragraph 2, they did state that they condemn unequivocally all tribal speeches or hate speeches or any statement that has got the tendency to provoke certain set of people into reacting. But this is coming very too late, far more too late. You know, I was expecting the SLPP as a responsible incumbent party to be doing this. They are not only to be seen doing this when it is not on their side. I also read their press release at some point when the mayor of Freetown, let me build the premise.
We'll come speak about what the SLPP says. What I want to have clear is the statement and its representation. If as a political party you don't believe in what is said, why not condemn it openly and publicly?
We have always condemned anything that has got to do with tribal sentiment or his speeches.
So are you condemning what Dr. Samura Kamara said?
Let me state this. Now, we have to look into the statement properly and to also note what may have warranted that particular statement. I will deny the fact that some of the things he stated in that statement are not actually the realities on the ground. That is the question we must be asking. Are we forgetting that after the elections, there was a transition team, government report in this country known as the GTT? Are we failing to realize that in that GTT, which was chaired by the now Minister of Foreign Affairs and the then Minister of Lands and Secretary General respectively, they did state clearly that the APC, government of Ernest by Kamara, only empowered people from the Temne and the Limba ethnic groups. which is very incorrect. Did we condemn that at that time? Those are the bases we must not forget. Nobody, not the media, neither civil society or the very SLPP condemns that.
Let me just come in. Let me come in and ask you this question.
Yes.
You're talking about condemning the statements made by him. Many people are actually condemning it, saying that it will divide the nation into tribal lines. So now, please tell us if Dr. Kamara's statement is some amount to hate speech.
Well, I have stated that the APC is a party that is tolerable. We accommodate all shades of opinions, tribe and regions, and that we do not tolerate anything that has got some tribal sentiment which may lead to division. That is absolutely being condemned. But having said that, let us also try to analyze the statement properly and see if some of the things Dr. Samura stated in that statement are incorrect. They are very correct.
Yeah, but the Mende is a tribe. It's not a political party. It was referencing a tribe, even mimicking and them as well.
That Boa Bise is a form of greeting in the Mende dialect. So we must understand that.
Was Dr. Samura Kamara speaking the minds of members of the APC?
I have stated clearly, the APC is a political party that is against tribalism. It is a party of national character. I don't know how to put this.
Quickly, Marina. Contextually, as you mentioned, the context you want us to watch the statement he made. Do you think it was right for him to make that statement? He could have made it a better way, or you think that was the right way to have said it?
If I were Dr. Samura Kamara, maybe there would have been a better way to have put it. Yeah, It is true that in this country, people are now being employed based on the tribes they come from or the regions they come from. That is very true. Conduct an investigation, forensic audit on the Electoral Commission. Now, there was a press release to the effect authored by the NGC leader, Dr. Dennis Bright, in which he made thorough analysis about recruitment at NEC and elsewhere places. It is tribally, orchestrated. You have to be loyal to a political party.
But there are many people. But there are many people who don't have job as well, who are unemployed, who are Sierra Leoneans who don't have job.
Everybody in the country can be employed. But let us also note that when some people are employed by the laws of this country, they have secure tenure in office. You do not have to sack them based on their tribe, or you think they have a political orientation other than yours. We saw the ombudsman being sacked even when his tenure was still to expire. That is Melron Nicole Wilson. We saw Adi Macaulay as ACC boss being sacked, even when he has got secure tenure of office.
But this was
those are the facts.
But Minkailu, this is the same APC party that Dr. Samura Kamara is part of that sacked J.D. Rogers when he was bank governor when they came to power.
He was not sacked. He resigned.
J.D. Rogers.
Difference. Yes, he did resign. He was not sacked. He was never sacked.
Pushed out.
Yes, he did resign. The former bank governor you referred to, he was never sacked.
Okay. So are you using
now aside Rogers, Justice Kawan of blessed memory was the ombudsman. Was he sacked? He was never sacked.
So
all those who secure tenure.
So the point I'm making is this is the same complaint we've been having from political parties. That's when one political party comes to power, their own people are sacked and others are given jobs.
It is not the case.
Let me just make these points. Could we raise these concerns without tribalizing the issue or targeting a certain tribe in the country?
Now, I have said this abundantly clear, Lamrana. Dr. Samura Kamara is not tribalistic. Let me put it that way. He is married to a Mende woman from Pujon. Masa, the name of the woman, Elizabeth Mansa Samura Kamara, from Pujon. Most of our stalwarts, our elderly people in the APC, are married to women from the southeast. Minkailu Koma sitting here was born and raised in Kenema, though by northern parent, but I have nephews and nieces who are Mendes. I was educated in Kenema. I only left Kenema for Frabe College. So we have got a culture in this country that is tolerable. Religiously, tribally, we tolerate each other. Intermarriages are all over the place. But when it is the fact, you have to state it without, many seeing the truth. And that is just it. Dr. Samura Kamara was actually apt to have stated that employment are based on tribes and regions and the surname certain people are carrying. It is only regrettable that the tribe Mende was specifically mentioned. And the APC cannot condone that because we have people in the APC who are strategic and are Mendes. And we are being supported countrywide. Recently, in a by-election in Blama, Small Bow Chiefdom in Kenema, the APC was voted overwhelmingly. We need the support of every tribe, every region in this country. No one single political party or one tribe can claim, monopoly over the political space. If you want to be a government, you have to be tolerable. You have to encourage other tribes. So the APC is not tribalistic. We condemn any tribal speech or hate speech, but let it be stated that those things that Samura Kamara did mention in that particular statement are very correct. And these are the facts one must not deny. But let me come to talk about this one now, Lamrana. When the president referred to a whole political party as terrorist, what did the SLPP do? Their leader, our president, referred to the APC as terrorists. Did the SLPP condemn that particular statement by the president? When one of their supporters recently in Kono was seen, in a recorded video on social media, and another in Potloko, saying they would beat up and kill all those that will not vote the SLPP, what did they do? Did they come out and condemn that? This is a diversion. You are diverting us from the real issues. We must be talking now about the economic hardship in the country. We must be talking about the electoral laws that are being tampered with. We must be talking about the so-called NIN, National Identification Number, which is in contravention of Section 31 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone. We must be talking about boundary delimitation. The SLPP want to reduce about 9 constituencies from Freetown to take them to the southeast. Those are the real issues that we shall be talking about, and not something that is trivial. Those are the issues.
And let me bring in Imran. Imran, is the government concerned about Dr. Samura's statement, or is this just another spot to score political goals by the SLPP?
Well, thank you very much again, and thanks for the opportunity. I mean, ordinarily, and Minkailu touched on it, when it comes to our normal daily lives, intermarriages and all the rest of it, we see a society that is peaceful, that is cohesive, that is one unit. But then also often some politicians tend to bring out what I would call the ugly underbelly, in our political dispensation. And that is what they play on for what I'll call political mileage. And there's no reason for that. So we have seen consistently in the APC, it is not just Samura Kamara, it was Imran Akisoya before him, it was some other person gladly talking about tribe as against the issues that are meant to be discussed. And these are things we should roundly condemn. Every single Sierra Leonean. It's not just about government condemning. We have seen civil society organizations, even though some have been clearly absent. So, for example, we are talking about it now, and we have not seen a statement from campaign from Good Governance. They are more than happy when some SLPP fellow made a statement the last time saying that they were going to burn places, and CGG, that was the only time they could afford to bring out a statement. But so far, I'm sure they probably are thinking through what the wordings is going to look like in their press statement if it should ever come out. But the point for me is this. I think hate speech has no place in our society. It is something we should not tolerate. It is something we should condemn.
So you're saying the statement by Dr. Samura Kamara, some amounts to hate speech?
Who?
I mean, you're saying the statement by Dr. Samura Kamara, does it some amount to hate speech?
It is more than that. It is a pattern we are seeing. So before Samura Kamara, it was Imran Akisoya talking about Boa Bisie, those kind of coded messages to rile up their base, that this is us against the Mendes. It has nothing to do with the issues, right, that are meant to be discussed between political parties and the way forward about national development, how do we bring national cohesion. All too often, instead of us as politicians bringing people together, you have people like Imran Akisoya and Samura Kamara poking the bear, if you will, making sure that their base is riled up, making sure that they create this impression as if it's a particular tribe that they're against. And all of those are wrong, right? It should be roundly condemned by every single individual. It has no place in our society. when we get to the elections between now and next year, I mean, we should be talking about the issues about development, the issues on education, the issues on healthcare, the issues on infrastructural development. Those are the things we want to talk about as a government.
How do we get these condemnations across the board? You know, not just seeing it as bad when it comes from members of the opposition, and when people who maybe are part of government or those who are members of the ruling party say these things, people don't condemn them. We've seen videos of people making tribal statements, threatening to kill people. They mentioned a video of a certain guy in Kono as well that went viral. How as a government, or how do you plan to come out and address situations like this, you know, across the board, condemning what might affect the peace of this country?
First of all, I think we have to take into account the fact that there is a law, that there are laws in this country, right? And anybody found wanting of those laws definitely should face the full force of the law. But if you're talking about a jack somewhere in Kono making a statement, yeah, that is being caught on camera and sent out on social media, as against a political party and those higher up consistently making those statements, yeah, I mean, that's more chilling for me. Yeah, you can easily at a certain level say you deal with those at a certain level who make those statements and get them to face the full force of the law. So, for example, if you were to, based on those statements that Samura Kamara made, if he was invited now to CID, I'm sure you would have Minkailu Kurma and others up in arms. Oh, now because of politics, now they don't invite and come. Forgetting those statements that he has made that has the tendency to disrupt the public peace of this country. So, I mean, in terms of category, we condemn every single utterance by every single Sierra Leonean, right, that has a tendency to disrupt the peace and stability of this country. But as political actors, we owe it, right, to 7 million people to be far more responsible and civil in our discussions. As
Minkailu mentioned, some of the things Dr. Samura Kamara said in his statements are real-life things. I mean, this saying of giving jobs to cronies is not new in terms of politics, you know, in our country. Should the government not be worried about these real-life things?
Well, I don't know what you mean by real-life things. There are a lot of real-life things that...
Real-life things in the sense that when it comes to SLPP, they only give preference job opportunities to Mendes, and when it comes to the other, you know, things like that.
I mean, that premise is fundamentally flawed, yeah? Fundamentally flawed. I see no statistics or data suggesting...
Yeah, that the allegation has been making.
Yeah.
But that's the point. So I mean, I think we equally have a responsibility to pin Minkailu down. Where's the data?
So that
where's
is why
the
we have you to
clarify those
in the absence of a data or statistics clearly suggesting what he's saying, I think in a sense we're helping to peddle right those falsities, and I don't want to be part of it. I see across governments every single day in my interactions, in my dealings, I see people from various parts of the country sitting here talking on this particular podium. I'm not a Mende. I might be thankful and grateful to the people of Moyamba district, right, who took my forefathers and gave them a place called home. I can equally say I should also be thankful to the people of Port Loko district who gave, on my maternal side, gave them a place called home, that we can proudly say, oh, Akomona Lunge Loko Masama. That is, there's so many shades in me, right? And that is what I bring to government, every single one of us. So, I mean, historically, if you were to talk about the Soares, they come from the southeast. Are they necessarily Mendes? The Soares would never be, historically, would never be Mendes. Okay. Yeah, they're Madingos by tribe. Alhaji Kanja Sise was only last weekend in Bo, right? Where he received a huge welcome. He's my Mansa. He's the Minister of Energy. He's also my Mansa. Mansa means I'm a Madinga leader. I'm a Madinga chief. I hope you understand. He's in government, and he plays no small part in government. So we can spend the whole day naming them one by one, those individuals in government who do not necessarily come from what you would call a Mende type. So look, let us come back to what the issues are. Let us condemn roundly. There can be no ifs, no buts. Yeah. Let us condemn roundly any utterance made by any political actor with the sole aim of gaining political mileage. Let us come back to what the issues are, and let us help to bring this country together. Because I'm quite sure, I mean, if Samura were to be president, say in 2032, it's not going to happen, not in 2023, it's not going to happen in 2028. So if Samura Kamara were to be president in 2032, would he want to be the leader of a divided country? Right? Would he start picking between Mendes and Timinese and Locos and Limbas? That's not the way to go. He has a responsibility as a former presidential candidate, someone who's looking to lead the APC again come 2023, and he's surely going to be defeated in the polls, first ballot. Yeah, he has a responsibility to help hold this country together.
We'll definitely come to that. Let's bring in Filipona. Good morning to you. Would like to know how concerned is the Peace Commission on this?
Sorry?
Would like to know how concerned is the Peace Commission on this?
Well, good morning, and thanks for the invitation. As far as the Peace Commission is concerned, with regard to the ongoing discussion on the floor here, we actually lay emphasis on engagement, engaging the various parties, engaging the various individuals who are now involved in issues like sending out messages which might hurt other groups in the pursuit of getting their own political interests through. So actually our focus here is how to engage them, how to bring peace among them. The issue about tribalism in this country, I've traveled to well over 35 African countries. It is even crasser in some other countries, Here we are having a society which is really more or less homogeneous. People married across tribal lines, religious lines, So to build on that, in order to promote peace and national cohesion, must be something very easy, as long as everybody is involved, as long as everybody is ready to listen. What is happening here is, I grew up in the Diamond-Rich district of Kono, where majority of the people of Kono, are non-Konos, the majority of them. That's where I grew up. And what I noticed is that the Kono people have been very tolerant in terms of appreciating and accepting their strangers. They say it in Kono, my good stranger. It's only when politics comes in that we see the ugly head of tribalism and regionalism and regional disparities and so on. But no sooner politics is off and over, people move on with their life. So this is one of the strategies the Peace Commission is also trying to develop, to see how we can get to those cultural values we have, which has made it possible for us, as a nation, as a people of this country, to move on. From my background as an anthropologist, cultural and social anthropologist, Sierra Leone is actually enjoying, has this privilege that we will never get, it will never degenerate. The situation will never degenerate to the Rwanda situation or the Nigeria situation. But of course, it needs to be, boosted by the people of Sierra Leone. Politics, religion, the cultural, traditional leaders, and I think we have a headway there. We can.
And as you mentioned, it gets bad when we get to elections and politics, and we are less than a year to elections. What is the commission doing? You mentioned about engaging. Are you still looking forward to engaging, or you've started engaging on messaging on what should be out there to the public, especially from political leaders?
Yes, we've started engaging. We've started sending out messages, peace messages, jingles. We have the, the communications directorate there, which is heavily engaged in, activities like that, because we are also aware of the fact that, elections are around the corner. We are also even thinking of planning a situation room where we can also reach out to the, the population, at large in this country. We'll be going out to, the various districts, using the media outlets there, such as the radio, which we know most people listen to at specific times, you know, in the day. Of course, I think what is key here, and I will really say categorically clear here, is that it's very important you use a language which reaches the people. You use Mende, you use Timini, you use Creole, you know, that's where you can really put this message across to the people. The importance of peace, the importance of national cohesion, the importance of not getting back to the 1990s, where you and I know, you know, the vagaries of that war and what, you know, what the outcome was. And 20 years down the road, you know, after, you know, the war ended and we had a TRC recommendation, subsequently the Peace Commission, we want to make sure that this commission not only reaches out to these people, you know, in terms of elections, but we want to have a sustaining peace infrastructure, you know, tailored to the Sierra Leonean situation. That means also going out to other African countries where we know they have best practice examples, such as Ghana, such as Kenya, such as Rwanda. Learn from them, bring it and translate it into the Sierra Leonean situation.
Okay, I'll ask you one quick question before we take commercial break. It is about understanding the reason for this. You know, political parties will always complain about this when they are in opposition. And when they come to power, most times, you know, their actions do not explain to issues that are to do with national cohesion. And it all boils down to the issue of national cohesion.
Yes.
About, you know, sharing the national wealth, you know, everywhere, everyone benefiting from it.
Yes.
As a social anthropologist yourself, have you been able to understand why every other successive government, every other term, we have to get to this situation where we'll have tribal statements, divisions, and things like that?
Well, Lamrana, it's very important to know that we only use this little tiny mirror when it comes to Sierra Leone. We think, you know, people think it's only in Sierra Leone we are having situations like that. But unfortunately, even in Europe, you know, where more or less I spent my adult life, you are having situations like that. When it comes to politics, when it comes to party politics, you know, people become ruthless. We have it also in Africa. In the case of Sierra Leone, I want to believe what I observed here is that, or what I'm observing is that we are having very weak institutions. We need to strengthen our institutions. The moment these institutions are strong, you understand, the idea about, oh, this party comes in, has, you know, has taken over and dismissed people, you know, from the former government or whatever, you know, all these blames we are hearing, all these complaints we are hearing will not exist, because the institutions, as long as they are strong, it also strengthens the constitution, which you cannot just touch. Okay. So this is one aspect of it. But traditionally, culturally, you know, things are really intact, you know, between the people. They respect each other's border, they respect the red lines, the no-go areas, and I want to believe that's where we have to look into those areas and see how we can modernize and develop them, and maybe even a little away from the Western type of you know, democracy, which is very difficult to apply, not only in Sierra Leone, but in many other African countries.
Okay, we'll continue the conversation. This is Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV Television on Channel 33. We'll be taking messages soon, but Minkailu, I want us to look at how do we, as we move to elections, to campaign, you know, what we're discussing now, I'm sure if we go back 5 years ago or 10 years ago, some of the things the SLPP complained about, pointing people from the same tribe, from the same region and all of it. How, as political parties, how do we move beyond this? How do we get to discuss how we should fix situations like this? Not, you know, making it tribal, as it was mentioned, building institutions, giving the people alternative as how you build institutions to address situations like this.
Yeah, Lamena, that particular assertion by the SLPP then can be regarded to be very baseless. Now, when you take a look at the cabinet of His Excellency former President Ernest Bai Koroma, it was a cabinet that was regionally and tribally balanced. You know, the names are there. One can go to the archives to read the names of members of the cabinet of Ernest Minkailu then. Yeah, it was actually a nationally balanced representation for everyone. So that was a baseless statement. The APC
but it was a cabinet that had more Northerners than Southeasterners.
No, well, I don't want to agree. This was a cabinet.
Can we do finger count? Can we count?
Yeah, you can call the names. But this was a cabinet, you know, especially during the latter part of it, the president, let's say the vice president was Chief Alhaji Abubakar Samura from Kono. He was later replaced by Victor Bokari from Jimmy Babo in Bo. Yeah. We have people like the Stephen Gaujas, the Mojwe Kaikais, the Ansils. Ansils is from Bont. Mojwe is from Pujon. Stephen Gauja, I can't tell. You have people like the Soko Kabia from Moyamba. You have the CDA Atunis from Pujon. We have many people, you know, you have the Aru Bokaris, you have the Maya Kaikais, you have the Diana Konomanis. These are all Southeasterners. More than 10 to 11 or 15 people that we are from the Southeast. Same cannot be said about this current government. But let me turn to Imran. He was making a joke. Yeah, that Samura Kamara might be president in 2032. I want to make it abundantly clear to him that the people of this country are just waiting for time. The Slpp is at the brink of collapse. Yeah, they are at the edge of the exit door now. It is just a matter of time. The APC will win the 2023 election with an overwhelming majority.
Minkailu.
The facts are there to show. Let me be clear on that. I cannot sit here and telling me my party will be coming to power in 2030.
With your clarification, please, let me ask this question. With such statements coming from Dr. Samura Kamara, do you think is fit for the purpose, I mean, in terms of presidency?
Now, we are not here to tell who is fit or who is not fit for the purpose.
But his statement is creating a division.
The APC cannot make a mistake, yeah? I have said we condemn tribal sentiment or hate speeches, but most of the things he stated in his speech are very true. These are the realities on the ground. Lamgana, I want to also comment on some of the things that have been said by the person representing the Peace Commission. You know, the Peace Commission is a very important institution. Without potential conflicts or without issues that may lead, you know, into something that can be referred to as untold suffering in this country, there will have been no Peace Commission. So it was a step in the right direction for the government to put it together. But I want to remind them that peace is not just the absence of violence, but the presence of justice. And the presence of justice presupposes the fair application of the law. What have they done to address most of the things that have got the potential to, you know, force people into reacting? Yeah, I think the Peace Commission is not doing much. Now, just after the elections in 2018, the Peace Commission was not in existence. But it is my view that after their coming into existence, they will have gone to the drawing board to address and come out with a statement that will prevent most of the occurrences immediately after the elections. Immediately after the elections in 2018, we saw a situation in Kenema at Kaisamba Terrace in which the stores, yeah, of people who are northerners that are traders, we are destroyed. We saw in Kaila in which women were beaten and raped. We saw a situation in Kono in which people were chased from Kono to Mashimbi. Jude, the Vice President, His Excellency, went there to Mashimbi. We saw all of that. We saw a lot of things. I was expecting the Peace Commission to have come out with a statement, a strong statement, to prevent those reoccurrences.
But they were not in existence then.
No, that is why we have to take a flashback. That is why they...
So you want them to condemn in retrospect?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we also have to... He spoke about the TRC recommendations. You want to ask yourself the question, are the TRC recommendations fully implemented? Tijan Kabal, blessed memory, started that by building state institutions. We saw the ONS, the Office of the Ombudsman, and a lot of other things. When Ernest Minkailu came in, he consolidated what Tijan Kabal started. But Julius Maada Bio, His Excellency, he has destroyed most of those things.
But the Peace Commission is a recommendation of
yes,
the
those
TRC.
Are created. Yes, I agree. I agree.
And he created
I agree. I said most, not all. Yeah. Tijan Kabal did a very good job. And that is why I told you the creation of the Peace Commission is laudable. I commended that. There is no denying the fact. But they have to do their job.
Minkailu, before I come to Imran quickly,
yes.
What are you doing as a political party? How much are you doing to give the people alternative say this is what we could do better rather than tribalizing issues that has to do with creating jobs or employment or national cohesion itself?
We have always done that. Yeah, we've given better alternative.
But will you say that statement from one of the leading aspirants for your flag bearer is a better alternative to the people of this country?
Yeah. All of those that are aspiring for the flag of the APC, be it Samura Kamara, be it Dr. Samura Kamara, Dr. Richard Conte Petito, Paulo Conte, whosoever, you know, is given the nod, that particular individual will make a better leader for this country. That is just too clear. It is very clear. It has been demonstrated. We have conducted ourselves in a very proper manner as a political party. We have been provoked into aggression, but we never reacted. Okay. Lamrana, immediately after the elections, the things that happened, the violence that was perpetuated in our stronghold, if we were not a responsible political party, we could have reacted. An innocent boy was killed in Tonko Limba. No inquest, no investigation was conducted. We did not react. One of our supporters was killed in Mile 91. We never reacted. We saw the McKinney and Paneba prisons massacre. We never reacted. Our members of parliament were unlawfully removed from parliament and replaced by those that were not elected and don't have the mandate of the people. We never reacted. Okay, the speaker was imposed on parliament. We never reacted. And the SLPP is having a field day in doing things that we can no longer tolerate. Okay. They cannot tamper with the rules of the game in the middle of the game. Electoral laws cannot be changed.
We'll discuss the electoral law issues. Let's hear from him, Imran. You've had him, and he's made a lot of accusations of things you are not doing better as a government in addressing, national cohesion or the tribal statements made by Dr. Samura Kamara.
So I think, excuse me, I think yesterday you had, is it Alfred Peter Conte?
Yeah, the day before yesterday.
The day before, yes. And I think for the first time in nearly half a century, the name was not harnessed by Kroma as the leader of the APC party.
We have to talk about
so we had a different leader yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yes, he's making his point.
The conversation is not about Alfred Peter Conte or harnessed by Kroma. The conversation is about the highest form of idleness that is being demonstrated.
You'll have your time to react to whatever you want to react to him. Let him just say. You'll have your time to react.
Thank you. So for the first time in nearly half a century, the APC, I mean, it was not announced by Kroma as chairman and leader. That was Alfred Peter Conte roundly condemning that statement made by Samura Kamara. So it feels a bit inconsistent, yeah, from Minkailu trying to give ifs and buts as to why that statement was made when his leader of the party currently has condemned roundly.
Well, he has condemned it himself.
Well, he's still trying to put forward excuses as to the contents of the statement that he made, and I think that should not be happening, right? If it is wrong, it is wrong, plain and simple, right? And then you get people to understand that there's a better way of doing things. I see a pattern. So I have been on this same podium, AYV on Sunday, where CDA Tunis was making those suggestions again about tribe. Yeah? So it's not the first time. We all had Yvonne Akisoya making those same statements, Boa Bisie. And it's the same thing that Samura Kamara has done. So for me, right, it feels like the higher echelon of the APC have sat together, have agreed, have come to the conclusion that the only way they can gain political mileage, and it's a shame, the only way they can gain political mileage is to begin to peddle tribal sentiments. Yeah? Otherwise, they stand no chance of getting any political mileage based on the track record of His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier Julius Madabio. So they need to probably change approach, yeah? Because I think it doesn't bode well for the peace and stability of this country. It doesn't bode well for national cohesion. And I think it's very unnecessary. Campaign based on what your alternatives are to government. Campaign based on what the issues are. Put forward your plans, policies, and action. It is based on that the people of this country elected President Julius Maada Bio in April of 2018, believing, right, that this was going to be a new direction, believing that the country was going to change in fundamental ways. And what we have seen since April of 2018 is a seismic shift, right, in infrastructure, on healthcare, on education, on human capital development, in terms of stability in the economy, and many more things. Right? That is where the argument should be. APC needs to look internal and inwards, yeah, and try to adopt a better approach. Otherwise, they run the risk as a political party of going into oblivion for a long time, because this society is tired and fed up with politicians like Samura Kamara, like Yvonne Akisoya, like CDA units peddling and pushing, right, tribal sentiments, all in a bid, right, to get political mileage and win an election.
One key question I would like to ask: when these statements was out by Dr. Samura Kamara, did the government reach out to Dr. Samura Kamara, or they're just leaving him to commit political suicide?
Well, I think the ending is very apt: political suicide. Yeah, it could be nothing more than that. But then I don't think it's the responsibility of government to reach out. Right, there's the security institutions in this country. There's the police. Yeah, there's the Office of National Security, who would slice and dice those statements and see what actions should be taken going forward. And then there's also the National Peace and Cohesion Commission. But then there's also civil society organizations. We have seen, not all, some civil society organizations condemning. I'm still calling out Campaign for Good Governance, because they will be the first for Sudan how they talk about government, right? When it comes to things that concerns, well, it feels like one of their own, right? They go missing in action completely, and there's going to be no statement from CGG. I can guarantee you on that. And we have seen those condemnations, and I think it is right, and that is what civil society organizations should stand up for. That is what citizens should stand up for. That is what I think the public, right, should disdain. And I think the security forces definitely would look into those statements. I'm not saying preempting anything, but they'll look into those statements, look at the trends, look at patterns, and see how they can do their best to stop, right, those unfortunate statements from festering, right, in the fabric of this society.
Imran, looking
we need
at
to take some Imran. It's past, a little bit past.
Let me just ask him this question quickly. Looking at all the concerns as we're heading towards the 2023 elections, is this the way you, the politicians, choose in addressing the people?
Well, when you say you're generalizing now. Some.
No, you're a politician as well.
Well, some generalizing, not all.
Politicians for both political parties make tribal statements.
Not all. So I would rather we use the word some politicians, not all. Yeah.
In the context that politicians from both political parties.
Yeah.
We all have a responsibility, right, to speak to our better angels, our higher values, yeah, and make sure we pull the country together. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to nothing. I have been in social gatherings where you would see, I mean, APC senior politicians and SLPP senior politicians and C4C senior politicians and NGC senior politicians. You could see they all sit down as if to say nothing is happening. Okay. So when we were in Bo to lay our mom to rest, Auntie Philo, right, Kaneyom Kela and Wef, if you see the atmosphere between Samura Kamara and His Excellency the President and NGC and C4C, it was a sight to behold.
To there, Imran, we'll definitely come back to you to make your submission.
This is Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV Television Channel 33. Marina, I think we need to take some messages.
Exactly.
You know, we've got loads of them, and it will be unfair that we'll come to Mr. Bona to react to Minkailu, but let's take some of these messages. Then
you can go ahead with the messages.
Yes. The first one I'll read is from Didan Sanko. He says, Minkailu is finding it difficult to condemn Samura even when his leader, Alfred Peter Conte, has condemned Samura's statements roundly. Samuel Bangali says, the APC knows that they will never come to power when the Mendes are united, so they are trying always to divide us. But you know what? We are above their strategies. We are not going to be distracted. Come 2023, the results will speak.
I'll definitely join you.
Bobson Kanu says, Samura Kamara was just being truthful here, but in fact, where were you when the president gave Hail Abu Abu for threatening the life of Timnis and promising to kill them? Another one from Benguli Kohli says, let's start from the president himself to Lima and the resident minister Abu Abu. They've threatened our brothers and sisters in Makeni for wearing black, and with within a twinkle of an eye, they accomplish it by killing them.
Okay, Castino say, from the look of things, the APC is still not ready to win the next elections. I was expecting them to come together, but what is happening now in the party is about individual interest. This is really sad, from Castino in Lunge.
Aliko Omar says the issue of tribalism is in between the roots of political parties. In the southern region, majority of the political party sympathizers are from the SLPP, likewise the north for the APC. So when any of the political parties come to power, their selection will be within their political party members.
The messages are mixed. Please.
Abdul Ekagbu says the SLPP is trying to hide behind Samura Kamara's factual statements to cover their naked tribalism. But it is not working because they cannot counter the statements with facts.
Didan Sanko says Samura Kamara is not fit for purpose. He just shot himself in the foot. He just followed what they discussed internally within their party, and that is why the Freetown mayor also made the same tribal statement.
Christopher D. Sharif says Minkailu, the APC cabinet of Anes Kurma, was more of mono-regional. If you can take a close look of the 2015 administration of EBK, the three arms of government was concentrated in one region, which was the north. If you take a look at this current administration, you will see that this current administration is regionally balanced.
My final message is from Didan Sanko. It says, it's a shame that APC dwells on using tribe to get political capital. That was the same thing they did during the runoff elections when they were tribally appealing to northern tribes who have joined the NGC to come back to their roots. It's a shame the desperation being displayed by APC.
This one from there says the NGC parties, the hope and future for the many are not the few. I'll take one final one. It's from Grace Mosori. She says they aren't doing anything rather than preaching tribal messages. What in fact will they tell the people of Sierra Leone if not SLPP? Those are the messages we could take. Let's go to I'll go to Bona quickly, then we'll come to Minkailu and Imran to react. You were listening, Minkailu. Minkailu is saying, I'm sure his point is that the commission needs to be more proactive, in addressing some of the things that I imagine now, instead of just waiting to engage when they happen. Because obviously and clearly, these statements will be seen leading to the elections.
That's the reason why I'm here, and I appreciate your invitation, to be here, in order to also present, the views and positions of the Commission with regard to the subject matter discussed here. I think, I personally, I'm talking from my personal point of view. Peace building, my brother, is a process. It's nothing you can really manufacture from any factory to say, okay, this is the ready-made product, and this is what we are going to do, and this is how the peace is going to look like in a community, in a society, in a nation, or between nations. At the same time, you have factories to produce weapons, and which can culminate into conflicts. So, in as much as we are having all these problems that are now showing their ugly heads, we as a commission are also aware of the fact that it takes time, it's a process, it's a long process we are going to go through. But precisely also, aware of the fact that we have to be proactive in terms of, information dissemination, in terms of peace education, in terms of outreach to the various communities to tell them about the importance of peace, having a peace in a society. We are also liaising with various institutions which are involved in peace building, in peace building processes in this country. We've signed MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with various institutions, including even the National Election Commission, Sierra Leone, PPRC, So this, we believe, is key to really building the kind of peace infrastructure we are looking for. Don't get me wrong. no matter how we do, whatever we do, the Peace Commission will remain to be an institution which definitely some might criticize in this manner and some might criticize in the other manner, but basically the fact remains that peace is nothing you can manufacture. We have to engage the people. We have to reach out to them. Wherever there's a conflict, there should be, you know, an alternative redressing approach, you know, to solving some of these conflicts. By the way, I should also add here, I've been saying this in various forums, you know, as a result of the TRC recommendations, the Peace Commission has been established, also through the Act of Parliament of 2020, and I should say kudos to His Excellency the President to have, you know, taken this bold step to extract this particular recommendation, this particular point.
Are you receiving the required support needed to do your work?
Sir, let me just complete it. You know, into forming an institution of this nature. And look, moving forward, at least we now have a commission, and we will be able to address some of these issues.
Establishing the commission is one thing. We all know how institutions, you know, find it challenging to get the required support, even financially, to do their work. So far, have you been receiving, we are less than a year to elections, have you been receiving the required support, you know, to do the work you're supposed to do?
Support from whom, sir?
Support from government. It's a government institution.
Of course, we are having support from government. I mean, in the sense that we are having direct, you know, we are liaising directly with the office of, you know, the president, you know, but also observing, you know, taking into consideration our independence as a commission. You know, we are also liaising with various international donor partners, you know, and I want to believe peace is a product you cannot produce in a factory, but it's a product you can sell. I don't want to see any human being who doesn't like peace. So I want to believe, even beyond the support the government is giving us, I mean, in terms of logistics, in terms of how we can, you know, start this whole process, I mean, it's just about a year. I want to believe other stakeholders, other interested partners will come on board sooner or later.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's come to Alfred. I see you've been writing down some of the comments, and you might want to react to them.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have to come to the comments, but firstly, let me react directly to the assertions that have been made by the person representing the Peace Commission. Yeah. Firstly, he said peace building is a process, not a manufactured product that one can purchase from any factory. I agree with him. It is a process, but let him be reminded also that conflict is also a process and that it has got stages. Yeah. Now, there is a potential conflict in Sierra Leone. Go back to the TRC report. Most of the things that were responsible for the decade civil incursion in this country are still eminent. Now, after the war, we said we are embarking on what I refer to as post-war reconstruction, the building of state institutions. We said the military and the police force was reformed, and the police was called a force for good. You remember the days of Kit Bido, running up to Brahma and Kamara of blessed memory. We refer to the police force as a force for good. This is the police force that is denying the people their fundamental right to protest. This is the police force that is not actually administering the law fairly to affect every Sierra Leonean positively. That is a recipe for conflict in this country. So if peace building is a process, conflict has got stages also. We are currently at the latent stage. It is their responsibility to identify some of those potential causes of conflict and nip them on the board. We have not yet arrived at the manifest stage in which there will be confrontation and crises. That is not the stage right now. But we are enjoying negative peace. It must be told that. And that is more so the reason why they as a commission must be in the position to identify some of those potential causes of conflict and nip them on the board. I am surprised to note that the Peace Commission is liaising with the office of the president. If the president errs or makes mistakes, how are they or will they be in the position to tell the president that this is wrong? I don't want to believe that some of these institutions are gatekeepers to those that created them or government of the day. That is something we must have to discourage effective immediately. And so to say peace is a process, we must also realize that conflict is also a process, and that the resources that we use to prevent conflict can 100 or 10 times be used to resolve conflict, can 10 times be used to prevent conflict. Let them do all they can now to prevent the conflict. Let them intervene on issues that are potential conflict issues and address them immediately. Now let me go to the messages that we are sent by various people and then react to some of the things
yes,
that we are
because
sent by
we're trying to round up. Yeah.
Yes. There is Castino. He is saying the disunity in the APC will be responsible for the APC not winning the next election. This is not uncommon. Political parties can be disunited. Political parties can be fragmented. But there is always a way they can come together. And I want to assure them that the APC is currently building the peace. The APC is bringing together everybody to ensure that we are united for the next election. So let them be rest assured the disunity will be addressed. Another texter did say Minkailu is finding it very difficult to condemn Samura Kamara, even though Alfred Conte, the current chairman of the ITGC, did condemn him outrightly. Imran was also alluding to that particular assertion. I want to state abundantly clear that I condemn, and the APC is not in support of any tribal sentiment that would bring tribal disunity in this country. However, I also want to make it clear that most of the things that were stated by Dr. Samura Martin Wilson Kamara are very correct, and these are facts. They can go to the drawing board and conduct their own study regarding that, but that is it. Imran is saying the APC is relying on tribal sentiment to make political mileage. You know, we are tangibles. You are talking about the role of this current government in education, health, and infrastructure. We have pointers. When we came in 2007, we said we are going to roll out the free health care for pregnant women, children under 5, and lactating mother. That was very successful. We did not make lip services to that. When we say we want to promote education, there was free education for female students, especially at university level, at the sciences. They were not paying university fees. They are saying free quality education. The abysmal performance of government schools in the just released NPSC result is a testament to the fact that
Minkailu, we need to run through. No, time is running on us. We need to run through.
It was talking about health and infrastructure. I want to tell you, there is a pending strike by the medical association, the medical and dental association. They have given ultimatum of 21 days. Just this morning, I read a press release in which they have restated their position that come the 1st August, if their issues are not resolved, they are going to strike in this country. That tells you the health sector is not being addressed.
Okay.
Infrastructure, what is there to point at?
Thank you very much.
There's nothing to talk
Thank
about.
you very much, Minkailu.
You cannot sit here and make assumptions.
Yes, let's listen from Imran.
So, just a quick clarification I'd like to seek, and I think Minkailu can help me out with that. Alfred Peter Conte, is he the new chairman and leader or just chairman?
But we are not here for trivial.
No, I want to reference him. No. Wait.
Gentlemen.
I want to. Okay, let me come back to you, Lamrana. I'm coming back to you. Okay, but keep that. I want to come back to you. Let me come back to you, Lamrana. I want to be sure. I want to be sure.
Okay, he has answered you. Let's move on.
I want to be sure. I want to be sure I'm referencing him correctly, right? Because when he spoke 2 days ago on this same podium in the morning, he did condemn, right, unequivocally, those statements made by Samura Kamara, and I think that is what should stand. I also would like to encourage other members of their political party who come out to speak on this same issue, right, to follow the lead of
outside the Boabi said.
Okay.
All other things
to follow the lead of the interim national chairman and leader of the All People's Congress Party when he condemns unequivocally those statements made. Now I think going forward, right, the APC has got to change course right, and determine determine what their political message is going to be. I have sat on the same podium, like I said earlier, with CDI Tunis, talking about tribe and politics. We have had Ivona Kisoya and now Samura Kamara. So it is quite clear, that this is a consistent pattern and policy adopted by the APC prior to Alfred Peter Conte coming in as chairman and leader of the party. I hope that the new leadership, will change course.
Ask you for clarification.
I hope that the new leadership. I hope that the new leadership.
Peter Conte is the chairman of the ITGC of the All People's Congress.
I hope that. My point is,
reference our party properly, please.
I hope that the new chairman of the party, right, would make sure that from top to bottom, everyone is singing from the same hymn sheet.
Okay, thank you very much,
and would
Imran.
stop making those comments.
Thank you very much. Finally, Bona, moving forward, situations like this, how do we go about addressing it? What will the commission be doing?
Well, we continue engaging various stakeholders whenever such situations crop up. I mean, we've been doing it in recent past. When it comes to teachers, SLTU strike, we were there, mediating. When it came to a bike rider strike, we were there. The Peace Commission was present. Even this recent strike where the women wanted to, which was stopped, the Peace Commission was there, represented, in mediating some of those processes. So the way forward, my brother, I would talk to all parties, from the point, representing the commission here, that we'll continue engaging them. This is the only country we have, the one Sierra Leone we have. And we don't want to go back into the 90s. And as a result, I will still appeal to them to please, continue engaging one another.
Okay.
We have the PPRC, which is representing them. I also want to draw our attention to something very important here. When we had the African, Cup of Nations, you see how Sierra Leoneans became one. This is the strength we have, and we shouldn't lose this, sight of this kind of potential we have. So at this point, this is the way forward. Engagement, negotiations, talk to one another. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bona, from the Peace Commission. Thanks, Imran, from the Strategic Communications Unit, and also Alfred Minkailu from the APC. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for joining us this morning. This is Wake Up Sierra Leone.